Welcome to another conversation with Shannon and Lena. Today we are going to talk about perimenopause and menopause. Very popular topic these days. And so we just want to kind of share what perimenopause and menopause is. We're going to talk about the symptoms and we'll talk about some things we can do to survive.
That's a good word.
hmm
Really good word. Should I start with Perry?
Yes,
All
let's
right.
start with Perry.
Okay, so perimenopause states, and this is information that we got from Mayo Clinic. Perimenopause states that it means around menopause. It also says the body is making the natural transitions into menopause and is marking the end of reproductive years. So basically, your hormones playing around, trying to go into a thing called menopause. It says it's a natural transition. So whatever you're feeling, you're not crazy and you're not alone. And it's supposed to mark the end of making babies. We'll see. Okay, carry on. Perimenopause. Yes. Do you want to? Do you have anything to say with that, or do you want me to go into some of the symptoms?
I'll add to it and then we can go
Okay.
into some of the symptoms. So,
Okay.
so it is a transition into menopause. And some of the symptoms kind of start with irregular periods, hot flashes and night sweats, which all of my friends talk about right now, sleep problems, mood changes, vaginal and bladder problems, decreased
I mean, you can
fertility.
slow down so we can kind of go into some of those for the people that are in denial or not there yet. If you want
Mm,
to, I'm just
yeah, because
saying.
I'm not there. Yeah. Okay.
You don't have
So
that
let's
friend.
let's let's back up. Let's
All right,
back up.
back it up. That's fine.
So let's
Well, we
back up with irregular periods, right?
okay,
So lasting longer, going months without them.
and then
Um,
that joker just popped back up.
right.
Yeah, that counts, y'all. Okay, go ahead. What else?
Hot flashes, night sweats.
Okay,
Now I'm gonna
pause.
say,
Let's stay right there for a moment. Park.
so I had a night sweat, but I don't think it's Perry though. I just think I was hot.
How many times have you had these nights?
It's really not consistent, so
Okay,
it's
listen.
hard to say.
I'm gonna say this once more. I'm not throwing off or anything. There are people that are in denial, and then there are people that are really going through it. And so I don't have them all the time. I am in my 40s. Okay. I don't have them all the time, but what I do notice is that they are very much so more prominent when I eat certain things. So
Yeah, we.
I'm not at the point like my aunties and grandma talking about they want to just go in the middle of winter and open a door. You know what I mean? Like, cool me off. I'm not there, but I will have night sweats it's funny. When I have them, I know it's tied to something I ate the night before.
I
So,
mean, that's good that you're aware and you're paying attention to your body. So,
because it's not,
um,
no, I mean, it's not every day, right?
right. Well, let's back up and talk about the age because you mentioned that you're in your 40s. And
Yes.
so when does Perry start happening or what's the earliest it can start?
You can start seeing changes start to shift in your mid 30s and then into your 40s. For me, you think you grown, but something happened when I turned 40. Like, my vision changed. And then here comes Perry with stuff. Like, when you hit 40, don't play. You might not be having your night sweats, but stuff changes.
It does
So
change. You're right about that.
it's
I
like a
feel like
switch says 40.
I feel like 30s, mid 30s. I feel like that's just too early. We just starting to live.
But who want to be, listen, to each his own. And I'm not judging anybody when I say this. But I was never one that wanted to have kids into my 30s and 40s. For what? It's time to start retiring and having fun.
Right.
Again, just for me, because I know it's different strokes and different stories and different testimonies for different people. I can only speak for me. By
Absolutely.
35, I was done. I don't want to start over.
I'm sure you handle it very different after that age too. So,
You either gonna be a whole. I feel you gonna be on edge all the time, or you gonna be like, I'm not supposed to be going through this at this age right now. So just do, let the Lord help
or
you get through.
on the flip side, maybe it can help you develop a little bit more patience in the midst of all the changes.
I'm praying for those that go through that. I don't know. I don't want to know. I will not know. So,
What about sleep problems?
okay. Sleep is huge because I like sleep. I am usually a light switch. I'm one of those people, you get in the bed before I can, you know what I mean? Say your prayers on your knees before you lay down, because when head hits pillow, I'll see you in the morning.
She gone.
She good and gone. But now it's almost like if I wake up for any particular reason, it takes sometimes 30, 45 minutes, if not longer, to try to get back. It's almost like you wake up and you're just ready to go. Like your body is like, let's go. And your brain is like, I'm not ready.
Yeah.
I can't
Now
do this.
I've been dealing with that for a while though, so I don't know. It's something that I've struggled with for a while, but I'm normally a night person,
Uh
and
huh.
so I think sometimes if I go to bed too early, I'm gonna wake up and I may take 30 minutes to an hour to go back to sleep. But
Yeah. I don't like
again,
that life. I have never wake up, go use the bathroom, come back. It's night time. It is not like that anymore. And so, yes, that's the thing. You mentioned something else. You said hot flashes, and what else was it before?
well, that I just mixed with the night sweats and then we went into sleep problems. Before that, it was
Okay.
irregular period.
Okay. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So mood changes though. Now that's a big deal. And you know what comes to my mind when I say mood changes?
What?
Frustration. Like I feel like a lot of people I know that are dealing with this, and possibly me, because I don't know, but changes. I'm in my 40s also, and I feel like I have dealt with frustration on a different level than I ever had before.
I think because of that transition, though, some of it might be coming from I've reached a particular age. I should have
Yeah,
done a little more in certain areas than I have accomplished. And so that frustration comes with that. But we know, like, God has a plan, it ain't on our timing. And
right.
so we kind of have to mellow out. But also, when you talk about mood swings, like, I overall am very excited over things, right? I can be very excited over things. But then
Mm-hmm.
but there's an even keel to me, you know what I mean, with certain
Yeah,
stuff, like kids and just certain things that happen. You're just like, okay,
yeah.
whatever. All right. Now it's like you, I heard someone say it best, like you want to strangle somebody in one breath and then you want to knit a sweater in the next minute. That could be a problem.
Yeah,
It could be a problem. You want to go and ride a bike and go work out and go spend time with your family and friends, and the next minute, like your cup could drip water on your leg and you want to cry. Can I
yeah,
just be real? I'm just saying.
yeah.
It is the craziest thing I've ever in my
But
life experienced.
I think it definitely increases levels of mood changes, but as women, we're already used to so many mood changes because our hormones doing this all month long, whereas
And that's
men, they're
like,
just kind of like this. So I feel
yeah,
like maybe it picks up a little bit
a
during this
little bit.
time, but for the
Being
most
nice.
part,
Okay.
some people may not even notice because they so used to mood changes,
Sure.
and some people have it more drastic than others. So when you get in that phase, you may not know. I mean, honestly, we all know the best way to confirm whether or not you're in this category is to go get a hormone panel done.
Yes.
But you may be able to identify with a lot of these symptoms. And some of these
Mm-hmm.
symptoms people have experienced even before,
Yeah. Yeah.
menopause. So,
Well, I'm
um,
glad you put that out there because it could be some of the symptoms overlap with other things.
yes,
There could be something you're going through and you really need to talk to somebody, but then there also could be something where you're really feeling out of place and it really is being able to look at those hormone levels to
because
see
I,
and rule out the craziness
yeah, because I'll
versus.
be honest, I can remember years ago, I had never even heard of perimenopause. All
Mm,
I knew of was menopause. I was like, oh, somewhere around your 50s,
yes.
I don't have anything to worry about. So I think, did it not exist, or was it that people just didn't notice that they were in transition?
I think it. I dare to never say it didn't. I didn't see it. I think along with education, right, and research and us learning to be more aware, like even with hormone changes or hysterectomies and things like that, depending on where you grew up, the women would say, "Oh, it's just a woman's thing. I'm going
Right.
through."
Yeah.
You understand? So the conversations weren't had. The conversations are getting a little more in tune and a little more in depth with being aware, with educating, with just learning as evolution and time happens. So I know there's no way this joker just came on the scene.
Right.
Been around. Just didn't know what it was. Yeah.
So one of the other ones is vaginal and bladder problems. Yeah. So I
Yeah.
don't, I can't say that I've experienced any of those as of
Well,
yet.
God
So,
bless
but I
you.
have heard of some of them. So,
So let's go into urinary incontinence could be anything from, okay, I feel like I gotta go and I better go now because I might not be able to hold it. It
right,
could be, I laughed at something real hard and because I'm laughing and stuff vibrating, I gotta go. It also
right.
could be, no one asked TMI, but this is what we're talking about, right? No one asked to be walking in the store and sneeze.
Right.
Okay. All right. So it looks different for everybody. And then on top of that, it looks different when you've had children or you've had a surgery, right? And
Hmm.
you've not strengthened pelvic floor muscles back up. And there is a certain thing as a pelvic floor therapist. We can talk about that another time or whatever, but look it up if you need to. But yes, those are all different ways. So you're not crazy. It looks different for everybody. And can I add the fatigue on top of that? Can I throw that one in?
You can
Like, I am one, and anyone that knows me, I'm like this from the time I wake up.
all day long.
But now, I could be like this, and all of a sudden, I'll be like, I need a nap. Like, right now.
Now, that's gonna be my sign right there because, I'm like you in that sense.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, still different. I'm still a little bit more mellow.
Mellow.
However, I'm constant. I'm constantly doing something, constantly moving, brain always going, got 1,000 tabs open at a time. But the day that I start saying I need a nap, because I am not a napper, I have the hardest time taking naps, even if I feel like I need one. I'm one of those people that will lay down and cannot successfully take a nap. So the day I start taking naps, I'm gonna know something changed.
Now, this fatigue be like,
It's
why am
instant.
I here? What? Why am I not in the bed? Like right yesterday. Like, why am I not taking a nap right now? That is what it feels like. It literally goes, people say 0 to 100. You go 100 to 0, and you have nothing left. You're like, I need to go lay down. True
That
story.
makes sense.
My Lord, God help us. Go ahead.
So this is gonna be my favorite one.
Uh huh.
Decreased fertility, because I mean, this is for me because I know everybody's different, everybody's on a different journey. But again, most people, or a lot of people I know, when you get to that 40, time frame, especially if you've already had kids, you're not interested or you're not looking forward to. So you want that to decrease. But I do understand nothing against those that are looking forward to that because it is still possible. But decreased fertility, which absolutely makes sense because we know that's what's happening.
It is. But the strange thing, if I may throw this nugget in here, if you've noticed recently, there are people mid 40s, right at 50s that are starting to get pregnant, like a
Hmm.
pop up baby. And I feel like those people probably have been fertile myrtles all their lives. And the eggs are like, listen, we winding up. Go ahead.
Right.
I don't want that life.
I understand.
So decreased fertility, yes, but I also, again, I feel like it could go either way, but go ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry. I'm just
No,
thinking, I'm
you're
like,
good.
that's been some 40-year-olds popping up, children in their 20s, and you got a newborn now.
Right. Yeah.
No,
I,
thank you.
I know that's going on. What about changes in sexual function?
You don't really, there are days you don't like him. You love him,
Right.
you don't like him.
Right.
I'm gonna leave it there. So, but the weirdest thing is, it's almost this. If you've struggled, again, I can only speak for myself in the comments. If you want to comment and share, go there. But you can not like them and literally in 10 minutes be like, I mean, it's so,
Again, it's like this.
so weird. You'd be like, and then you'd be like, I mean, and you can't control it.
I
You
almost think,
can't control it.
I
And
almost
I
think,
feel bad for him because he just be like, should I should I run or should I come give you a hug? He don't know. He don't know because I don't know.
I think that happens too before the change, you know?
Multiply it.
So everything is multiplied in
Roller coaster.
perimenopause.
It's
That's what
a
we're
roller
talking
coaster.
about.
Perry is on steroids. Perry need Jesus because Perry has a tormented spirit that needs to be cast
All right,
to be.
loss of bone. Loss of bone.
I feel what hormone wise, I think you get. Oops, excuse me. You get into this place where your hormones are trying to do everything it needs to do as far as your things are diminishing, and so where does the body pull from? The body always wants homeostasis, so it's always going to try to self-regulate, so it will pull from what it needs to.
Correct.
If I can, I'll combine bone loss and hair loss. You can have a nice full head of healthy hair. You'll start thinning because your hair is not a priority for nutrients. Your
Right.
body needs nutrients first. And so when you have no other reserve, you go to the bones.
And you know,
So
it kind of makes sense now why women are, more prone to osteoporosis and stuff like that. Because we all know that as we're age, we're losing, bone and all of that. But now it makes more sense why you hear more women with osteopenia and osteoporosis because in addition to just aging, you're also going through this. So
osteopenia is just the softening of. Osteoporosis will be more of actually losing, more
losing,
like
yes,
pores is what I get out of that,
correct,
like
yeah,
holes. And so for anybody that didn't know, it's a difference. One is a penia, is a softening of. Porosis is actually you're getting holes or dents and things in the bone where you're losing it. So,
yeah,
yes, which makes you now prone to falls and weakness
breaking
and
bones and
breaking bones and such. Yeah, it's important. So even if you don't see the importance of strength training when you're in your 20s and 30s, like your 20s set you up for your 30s, your 30s sets you up for your 40s, and so on and so forth. And so yes, you'll see down the line it'll be important for you to get involved in something with that. Did you have any more?
The last one I had was changes in cholesterol levels. So I haven't experienced that one yet. So
Don't nobody care. Folk, don't nobody care. No, I'm joking. And you may not. You know what I mean? Because it looks different
right.
for everybody. But for me, along with mood changes, I probably had some self-activated mood changes because I had never had any problems with cholesterol at all. And I think, what was it, 6 months or so ago, that
Yeah.
I had a whole brush where I was like teetering on high cholesterol, and I'm looking like, well, what? Why now, Lord? Like, I've been active a long time, and I eat well. I do my best to eat well. Environment wise, I don't have access to what I used to have access to as far as food, because when you go a little farther south, health is not necessarily a priority as it would be for other people. And I mean the standpoint of your food deserts, right? You have a Whole Foods and you have these Sprouts and restaurants and da da da, but then you have a boatload of barbecue and fried stuff at every corner, not access to so much other stuff. I'm pulling back. I'm refocusing. I meant as far as your diet. Is where I was
Right.
going with it. But on top of that, and doing what you are supposed to be doing with the blood, with the bad cholesterol, which is the LDL, will increase naturally, which will cause and can cause cortisol levels to rise, which then leads to weight gain.
Right.
So, can I just say to all the women, kudos to you for surviving, because you need, like, the Lord has given you a whole superpower just to survive this stuff. And I'll leave it there
Right.
because I want to say something else, but I'm gonna leave it
It's a lot though, but I
there.
think from that in general, those are some of the symptoms that come along with perimenopause, and some of them stay throughout menopause. And the information we gathered was from the Mayo Clinic, so I want to just give credit there. But
Mm-hmm.
going into menopause is the decline of reproductive hormones. And this kind of starts 40s to 50s. So, I mean, it's signaled by 12 months of no period. So, once you've reached that point of an entire year of no period, then you can rest assured you're in menopause.
That sounds so
Yes.
easy, don't it? But when you talk about, oh, I went 9 months
Hmm.
without a cycle, and then it pops back up. And then start your clock all the way over again for
Yep,
another 12 months. You
it
know what I mean?
does.
They make it sound so sweet when they write it,
Right,
but you had 3 more months to go and you
right.
were home and it showed up.
Yep. And you still dealing with some of the other symptoms from Perry. So it's
Like, I feel like those commercials, those infomercials, wait, but there's more. Wait, but
it's
there's
crazy.
more. Yeah.
It's crazy. And there's a lot of symptoms that came up for menopause. I'm gonna
Come on.
only touch on the ones that we didn't touch on for Perry.
Okay.
And so the first two that came up was depression and anxiety. So it makes sense. You gaining weight, your cholesterol levels are changing, you're not sleeping well, you
Hmm.
sweating at night, I mean, that's enough to make anybody feel like this, it's just too much.
You can't sleep. You can't get up and go eat because you don't want to gain no more weight.
Right,
Now you sad and anxious
right.
at the same time, or could be. Listen, this is what I mean. You want to strangle somebody, and then you want to go knit a sweater.
You just,
I
you
didn't
don't
say it.
know,
They said it. They
right,
said it.
what
Yeah.
direction to go into.
They
Then
said,
there's allergies, which I thought, like, I definitely can't look at that because my allergies have been off the chain
God
from
gonna
the day
grace
I
you.
came
God
into the
gonna grace
world. So, but there are some people I've heard, like, I've never had issues with allergies, and then all of a sudden, and it's like, now this kind of makes sense. Maybe it's a menopause symptom for them.
you. We're gonna have to look up different what. Maybe we should do a part two, like what hormone controls what in the body. Maybe we can go a little deeper. My okay.
Now that also make me think this though, and this is a sidebar, but I've battled eczema all my life, and it was real bad when I was younger, but now it's better. I really only deal with it on my hands. But I did not get it on my hands until I was pregnant.
Which is when your
And
hormones are at its
nobody could tell me anything about it. And I remember asking a doctor, could it be hormones? And they were like, no, probably not.
it was a man. It was a
But
man,
I
huh?
could tell you, no, it actually was not.
Blessed.
But what I can tell you is
Sorry.
this, as I'm, looking at my hands and stuff now, I see a difference through the month.
Okay.
And I mean, obviously, I feel like they're not healing because I'm washing, I'm sanitizing, but I notice that there are times of the month when it's more inflamed than others, and I don't change too much from week to week, so I
Mm-hmm.
still believe it's hormones. But
I'm
this just
sure.
made me think about that. So,
I'm sure.
yep,
I mean, why wouldn't it be with us? Why wouldn't it be?
right. So then there's
Okay.
panic attacks. I mean, so we can link that right along with the depression and anxiety.
Anxiety. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I can see that because now you're maybe more self-conscious, might be insecure about some things.
The
And
weight gain
so,
alone, if you've been
yes,
a certain and been able to maintain a healthy weight or a certain weight for yourself, and all of a sudden you can't explain 15, 20 pounds,
right.
that's a lot.
Yep. And you can let's just add in body odor. Your body odor changes. So we're just adding that in to
Yes, it
it,
does.
you know. So it's a lot
I ain't gonna
to
speak
take
on
in.
it because you know I don't like.
Yep.
I have
So,
a word for that, and yeah,
yeah. So
she
moving
said don't
on
do it. That's what she said right there.
to some other ones. We talked about, no, we didn't. So irregular heartbeat. Now this one was new to me. I didn't know about this one. So
Only thing I can tie it to though is, and again, let's say you had something underlying before, or anxiety. Anxiety will give you heart palpitations.
that's true. That's true.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
makes
is.
sense.
What some people may, heavy breathing. Some people's heart rate may change, and they handle anxiety and all differently. So I
Yeah,
see that. I
that
see
makes
that.
sense. Digestive issues and bloating.
Bloating, cortisol levels.
Right, makes sense.
Cortisol levels are gonna bloat you midline. Like a puffer fish, your defense mechanism when things are going wrong, if there's high stress, cortisol levels are gonna, it's gonna give you a nice little belt, little spare tire. And
Hmm.
then, what'd you say? You said
Digestive issues.
digestion. So, I mean, digestion, your gut is your second brain.
So that makes me feel like too, it's even more of a focus. I mean, we already know how important it is to make sure our body is nourished properly, and we know the importance of nutrition. But when you're dealing with menopause and perimenopause, you need to make even that much more effort into nourishing your body because otherwise, digestive issues and the bloating, some of us were already dealing with that prior to. And so now
Mm-hmm.
it only, again, like you said earlier, multiplies it.
It does. It does because and I've talked about it before on past videos and things like that because it was so important and so much I learned. But your gut literally is emotions, immune system. Those are the top two.
Yep. All right. So then moving on, we have tingling. And I ain't know what that was at first. I was like, what is tingling? But I'm gonna tell you that I do know someone who had come to me one day and was telling me that she had confirmed that she was in. Now, this is not, she's not even in menopause. She's just in perimenopause. But
Okay.
she was saying that she had all of the weird symptoms. And I was like, what you mean weird? And she's like, I felt like stuff was crawling on me. And I was like, what? Now, she's the only person I had ever heard that from. So the fact that it's different for different people, it's like you really can't fully describe this to anybody.
That's it. I just feel like by 35, you need Jesus and a strong prayer life. You know,
Absolutely.
like it's go in hard, play. You played, okay? You need Jesus not to strangle folk, to love your children, to love your family, and to try not to go just kirk off with people.
Right.
Can I
Yeah.
just, yeah.
And we talked about some of these other issues, so I'll skip to the ones dental issues and burning mouth syndrome.
So thankfully, I have not the burning mouth syndrome, but I've heard people say their tongue can tingle, like it feels like
Mm,
their tongue is tingling. Now the tooth
dental.
problems,
Mhm.
dental problems, I can see because our teeth are bones.
Oh, yeah, makes sense.
So you start to, you know, sometimes people lose a tooth or so because it's just not enough to hold, and it's usually molars
Hmm.
and things, but it's a bone.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's a
Okay.
bone. So, yep,
So then there's breast soreness, which, I think that probably,
all our life.
again, I'm like, most of us deal with that throughout, having a cycle.
Puberty
So,
beyond.
yes. But, there are probably some people who haven't experienced that and then get to menopause and maybe it's something that start happening. So,
Wait though, hold on. Let's hold there for a moment. It just made me think about it. I am not, I've dealt with it. However, like you said, it was before any of this, but it was also linked to caffeine intake.
mm,
Stuff I didn't realize. All right. When I
yeah.
was younger, it was, oh, you're not supposed to have sodas. I would do sodas in my teenager and early 20s. Sodas, I don't do them now, but it was sodas, coffee, and chocolate.
Hmm. Was it milk chocolate or dark chocolate?
It was milk because dark chocolate has benefits, but
Right.
the milk chocolate was, yeah, those there's loaded with caffeine too. So those caffeine triggers were affecting breast health.
Okay. Good to know. Then there's itchiness. So that might be related to the tingling or, maybe.
Like you gonna itch when you smell bad anyway. I'm sorry, y'all.
Then there's a joint pain. So I'm like, man, this is just
But
like the whole
joints,
body
bones,
is
you know
affected,
what I mean? It's puzzle pieces.
right?
Joints, bones, just
Now,
a
brittle nails,
calcium bone
yeah,
ish.
that's all kind of related. And I'm not sure on the electric shocks, but that was also in the research as
Nerve
well.
with the nerve, like with the tingling, probably.
Hmm.
I don't know for sure. I am not a doctor. We are not
We
giving doctors. And
absolutely
let
not. We
this
just
get it
normal
out there.
people,
We are not physicians. We are talking from experience and research from Mayo Clinic. Okay, so go take it up with Mayo Clinic. And if you have a question with me, put it in the comments because I'm gonna tell you what I know. The rest we're gonna let fall.
right? So let's shift and talk about some things that help the survival of. I'll start with I know one of the biggest things is going to be exercise.
Can
That
we
is
talk
going to
about risk factors first, or should we go into the? Can
we
we
can
help
we
them
can go
at
into
the
risk factors. Go into risk
Okay.
factors, and then we'll come
Let's
back.
leave the goody stuff at the end. If we, let me see.
Go right ahead.
I'm sorry. I just needed to. So, risk factors smoking, if you have a family history.
Now
Now,
wait, this is risk factors of you dealing with these
this is
symptoms.
the risk factor of perimenopause. So, I don't know if they cross borders.
The reason why I'm asking is because I'm like, is it saying that you're at higher risk to go through these things, or
Yes, you have more of a roller coaster ride
okay,
if
all
you are
right,
doing these things. Okay.
continue.
Yes, thank you. Let's get clarity. Smoking, because already smoking will already cause some of these issues, right? And then
Correct.
once you get into peri or meno, whatever it is, you now it's multiplied. But then on top of that, there are some people that can add a little more to it. So smoking, family history. Family history is important because there are certain demographics that don't talk a lot or enough about health stuff. Things just happen.
Agreed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cancer treatments. If there were any cancer treatments,
Mm-hmm.
you may have, and I don't know in my head what makes sense is it comes from when you go through chemo and radiation, it already breaks down your body anyway, good and bad cells.
Yeah.
So that's where I see that coming from. And then also hysterectomy. So there are two types. You can have a full hysterectomy where they take out uterus, cervix, ovaries, the whole nine, but then you can have a hysterectomy where they take out your uterus and your cervix and leave your ovaries because your ovaries will still create estrogen. So two ways, but dependent. But if you've had a full, like they used to do, what, 60s, 70s ish, a full removal of everything, you're probably going to go into it earlier. All right. So now let's help the people. Since we got all the out of the way.
We know how it attacks the body now.
Yes, yes. So
So
let's help the people, Shannon.
I would start with the first thing is exercise. It's going to be very important for balancing your hormones, maintaining and gaining strength. Because as you are aging, you're already losing that. And then if you're in menopause on top of that, again, you're losing it even more. So exercise is going to help. And then even just from a mental standpoint, it will help that depression, the anxiety. It's definitely a good coping thing. So if you're not exercising already, I encourage you to start. And, it could be anything from you definitely need strength training. So, and you need cardio. You need both of them. Don't let anybody tell you that one is better than the other, unless you have some medical restrictions that your doctor, advised you not to do certain things. But you need strength and you need cardio
Yes,
regularly.
yes. Um, and that's also with the I don't know if you the bone when we talk about the bone density. A lot of people may or may not know if you have ever been diagnosed with osteopenia or osteoporosis. It does not mean it will totally reverse, but with what you were saying with the exercise and weight training, it can slow that process down
Correct.
where you can maintain, right?
Yep, absolutely. I've
Okay.
actually had testimonies from clients. Well, just to back up a little bit, I'm a personal trainer by profession, and I've had clients who have had their bone density improve, just by doing strength training. So it definitely can benefit in that regard. So, definitely focus on strength training, but you do need the cardio also.
Absolutely. And another one, as far as helping, huge, your diet. Foods that are high in vitamin D. Vitamin D not only helps the bones, but it also helps the gut and the immune system more than you know. So look up foods that are high in vitamin D, and also with vitamin D, if I can add the stickler, which did a whole lot for me. Certain demographics process vitamin D differently. So for let me say the brown community, the black community, vitamin D with vitamin D3 with K2, and K2 is potassium. And potassium helps you absorb vitamin D more than just taking vitamin D by itself. Uh,
Correct.
the only hiccup with vitamin D3 and potassium, I will stick that out there, is that if you have kidney issues or dialysis or whatever, you have to control your levels of potassium. So check with your doctor. So don't just go on what I'm saying, but
Right. Do your
ask about
research.
what. Yes, do your research and talk to your doctor about that. And if he doesn't know, you may or may not want to find another doctor.
And then let me just add that the vitamin D is going to help with the depression and stuff too. So, you want to stay on top of that. But there are a lot of herbs and vitamins that can help, cope with some of these symptoms too. So,
Let's do another one, Shannon, because when you talk about the coping with, that comes from the gut. Your emotions come from your stomach.
right.
Isn't that crazy? So,
Yes.
side note. Side note.
So I
Um,
found black cohosh helps balance hormones. So you can definitely look that up. It's a herb. So you can research it, read about it. Want to
for
say
sure.
it's from North America, but you definitely can take that as a supplement to help.
I recommend 100%. And there are perimenopause and menopause supplements out there. So
Right. And some of them that I saw combine these herbs that we're talking about.
the one I
Um,
take has that
ash,
black
yep,
goulash.
ashwagandha is good. I know I take that one. It helps a lot, stress levels, all of that. But I have seen menopause and perimenopause products that combine these herbs together. So just again, when you're looking for stuff, make sure you're doing your research,
Yeah.
read about what it is, and so you can know what it is. But what I like is that these are natural ways. There obviously are some other treatments that you can go about doing as well, and you can talk to your doctor. I know there's hormone therapy and things like that that you can do, but these are just some things we know you can do on your own.
Yeah. Absolutely. B12,
Hmm.
energy,
Energy, right?
that midday nap, and you can't. B12, also for cramps, so the muscle aches.
Okay.
B12 will help with both. And I think you mentioned, did you mention black seed?
No, I didn't. No.
Okay, black seed also is in that list. So, black seed has a lot of benefits in a whole lot of different ways. But yes, that's how we can sometimes or somehow help the people. And I feel like we need to do a part two, though, on the gut and all of that. So, do you have anything else to add?
I don't. You guys let us know in the comments what you think, what other topics you want to hear, or if you want us to do a part two of this or anything else, drop it in the comments and don't forget to like and share.
And let us know your signs and symptoms. If we've listed generic stuff and you've had something crazy or weird that we didn't talk about, you probably still are not alone. Put it in the comments. All right. Like and share. And please share it with somebody else, another woman, and tell them you are not alone. You are not crazy. It is okay to want to strangle somebody and knit a sweater at the same time. Yes. All right. I'm done.
All right. Thank you guys for listening to another conversation with Shannon and Lena. We'll see you next time.